Hey guys, it's BearInABackpack, and today I'm playing Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. Now, normally I'd do like a Let's Play or a review or something like that, but for this game, what I really want to do is I just kind of want to talk to you guys about the game. Kind of I guess a live review. Well, not really live, I'm not like streaming it on Twitch or anything, but, let's just sit here and talk, let's talk about the game. It has pretty mixed reviews on Steam, and it's been that way pretty much the whole time it's been there. And I feel like it's due to a whole bunch of different things, and I can understand why people are a little upset about it. I've completely played through the game at this point, and I thoroughly enjoyed playing through it. I really did. Normally this type of like sniper-based, high stealth military game, not necessarily my type of game, but it seemed interesting, and when I was offered a code for it, I figured I'd give it a shot and see what it's like. And there's something to be said for trying games that are outside your wheelhouse, but outside of that, my experience playing through it was very positive. I liked it. Now, something that I do want to bring up is it is plagued by bugs. In fact, I was previously recording a version of this before the game crashed, like it does on several occasions, quite often actually, and I had to reboot it. And of course, it is also plagued by pretty long load times. If you're moving between region to region, and this game does have several that you'll play across. It's an open world game, so you do have a lot of different space to go across, but even then it's not entirely open world in the sense that you can't travel the entirety of all the maps all at once. There are loading times between each region. But those loading times can be upwards of 3-5 minutes, something like that. It does take quite a while. Now, other than that, it's really good. Like, it has a lot of variety of gameplay. Like, yes, it is Sniper Ghost Warrior. You would expect to be mostly a sniper. But it is, there's two other words in that. Ghost Warrior, right? Well, yeah, you can play entirely as sniper and just go around and shooting people from 2.5 miles away. Or you can play as a ghost. So more, still silent and creeping along, but, more up close and personal using silenced assault rifles or some of the bows that came in the DLC. So you can use like a compound bow or a recurve bow, right? Or you can play it as a warrior, going guns blazing, AK-47s popping off, frag grenades, explosives, you name it. And all of these are valid ways to play through the game. Now, admittedly, the going in guns blazing one, especially with the difficulty curve on this, even on normal, probably going to get you killed pretty quick unless you're really good at it. But it is still a relatively viable option. So, that's what I don't know. I think you need to take that into account when you're thinking about this game. I realize that its current price point, last time I checked on Steam, it was $50. That does include the Season Pass, by the way, which includes Lydia's campaign. I think they're adding multiplayer content eventually. They're going to have 2 multiplayer modes. If I remember correctly what I saw on Steam, the buggy, yeah, in fact, actually, I should go back to that. The buggy I drove in here is actually the DLC buggy. You actually normally have like a Jeep. So that thing over there is one of the DLC items, and you get a whole bunch of guns, and they keep adding them as we go along. So the DLC pack is actually pretty nice. So it is $50, but that includes the DLC. So it's not too bad, and it took me about somewhere between 10 and 15 hours to actually play through the game. So for that amount of money, for that amount of time, not bad. I mean, there's a lot of games that have done a lot worse in terms of taking like 4 hours to beat and paying $60. But I would say it's a little short for the amount of money you pay for it. But overall, content-wise, it's pretty fun. I mean, and it doesn't get too repetitive. I mean, yeah, in essence, it's more or less the same thing every time, but what you get to choose how you go about it, and therein lies the spontaneity and the fun in getting through the game. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through this little area here just to show you a little bit about the guns, how the game works, how to play it, that kind of thing, and keep talking about it. So first things first, I always like to scout out everything with a little drone you get here. It's really handy, you can spot enemies, gives you a lay of the land, points out important bits of information. It's pretty handy. Kind of zoom in on things. Now, the enemy can hear this, so you got to be kind of careful so they don't shoot it down. I've had that happen before.
Looks like they're digging.
So yeah, it'll mark out like, hey, if you go there, that's a pretty good sniper point. So it'll let you know about that kind of stuff. So that's helpful. Let you know about enemy gun emplacements, stuff like that. Yeah, I usually like to kind of scout out everything. So this would definitely be helpful for all 3 playstyles, but it's especially helpful for sniper. Because once you mark somebody, they have that little like chevron above their head the entire time. And you basically can't miss them. Well, I mean, you can still miss by shooting, but, come on. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everybody. If I remember correctly in this mission, I think there was like a sniper and like one other dude in the church, but we'll leave it there for now. So these perimeter guards, I'm going to use the sniper rifle. And as you might expect for a military, you know, tactical shooter kind of game, gets pretty advanced, right? So it'll tell you about how far out they are. You can change your elevation. If you hold shift, it gives you like, oh yeah, your bullet's going to go here. But obviously if you go way out there, then it starts to, you know, drop off a little bit. You got to account for windage. You know, what you would come to expect from this type of game, right? So let's go ahead and post up. Let's take out this guy. Oh yeah, and the bullet camp's pretty sweet. And horribly brutal. Like, it's like, oh, Jesus. Like, the sounds just really cut at you. But it's good, I like that. Woo! Got another one. Now, don't worry, I realize that was 2 in a row. They don't often... You'll get a lot of them, but it's not like every single one you ever do, so don't worry. And you do have the option to shut them off if you really don't like the bullet cam, but I like it. It's not quite as fun as like Sniper Elite with all the explosions and stuff like that of like, you know, the skull fracturing and the blood going everywhere. Not quite as fun as that, but still brutal and fun in its own way. So yeah, let's try and get a little closer. My other main complaint about the game, besides, you know, the bugs and the load times, and, you know, there are some like, there's a lot of other like nitpicky kind of things, but the main thing is the story. Now, you know, I haven't played 1 and 2, so I don't really know what to expect in terms of like, you know, what's previously happened, what has my character gone through, you know, why is this happening, that kind of stuff. But as a fresh player to this game, it's very confusing. I found it really kind of hard to relate to the characters. Obviously, I mean, how am I going to relate to these guys? But, you know, it just, to understand why they're doing the things they're doing. Like, there's some loose motivation, but it just doesn't pan out well. And there's a twist later in the game, which I won't spoil for you guys, but it just... Now, balls there. I think the sniper inside found the dead body. Alright, so they're on alert now, hence the yellow chevrons. They're gonna start fanning out trying to find me. The AI in this game is real smart. Like, it's surprisingly good at rooting you out, throwing grenades to get you out of cover. They will figure it out. You gotta be careful, so you do have to hide the bodies, which is an option. But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, the story... I just feel it falls a little short. It's pretty good. I mean, I would say it's average, but it just doesn't... It's not super memorable, you know? And, yeah, that twist that ends up happening about halfway through the game or so, it just seems like it's out of left field. Like, it really doesn't seem to fit with the rest of the game, and the ending is a little lackluster. And especially with the DLC, too. I played through that one, and it's a very abrupt ending to it. Again, just... out of nowhere, you're like, oh, I guess it's done now. Well, alright, cool. Alright, awesome. You know, it just doesn't, it leaves you feeling like there should have been more, you know? But let's keep going with this. Let's show you some of the more up-close and personal combat side of this. So let's... Alright. Oh, there's a sniper.
Over. I see the target.
Roger. Take him down.
Got him.
Target's down.
Copy.
Alright, let's keep moving through this building. I think there's one more guy in here. So the minimap's pretty helpful. It'll tell you where... Oop. Oh, yeah, so that little thing that kind of showed up at the top of the screen, that was people's, like, how much they notice you. It's like a little meter to tell you if they spotted you or not, and as that grows, you're more likely to get spotted. Yeah, so he's curious. He's wondering what's going on. Let's see if we can... Yeah, he's dead. Yeah, the minimap's pretty helpful to show you where ammo is, where dead bodies are that you haven't looted yet, mind you, so that's why you see the little skull icon, right? But, watch, as soon as I loot the body... Boop. You know, it's got a lot of quality of life stuff that you would come to expect for this type of game, you know. Looting's pretty easy, you can swap on the fly, get ammo. Guns are pretty easy to use, they're pretty standard in terms of, like, controls, what you would expect them to be. The loot options are there, you know. There is incentive to pick up parts and stuff like that because you get more money that you can use to then buy new guns. You know, it's got what you would expect it to have. It's the little things that make it a problem. And yeah, and like the bugs and the loading time and the lack of story and the fact it was pushed back twice, I believe, in terms of when they said it was going to come out. So that didn't help them. You know, it's just a bunch of small things that added up to really, I would say, hurt this game and take it down from where it probably should have been. Now, I mean, if this is your type of game, you like sneaking around and planning out missions and going and searching the countryside for cool missions and like taking your time to like execute the strike perfectly, I would still give this game a try. At the $50 price point, like I said, it still includes the DLC and the full game. It's really fun. I'd say it's worth the time, you know. Oh, jeez. Well, now we have a problem.
Locate the shooter.
Got those guys. I think there's one guy. Oh, better reload.
Enemy must be nearby. Search the perimeter.
Yeah, got him. Cool. Yeah, I would say give it a shot, you know. It's worth trying, you know. I mean, CI Games put a lot of work in this, and you can feel it. You can really feel that they put a lot of effort into this. I think they just got tripped up with trying to do too much too quickly, you know. With the timetables they had, I don't know if they could have gotten all they clearly wanted to put in this game, because there's a ton of DLC already. And I feel like some of the DLC probably should have just been in the game, especially because now it's just all lumped into one thing for the most part. And I think if they would have taken a little more time to just give it that extra little bit of polish, it would have been fantastic, you know?
The area's clear. You can make a break for it.
So yeah, I think that's really all I wanted to say about this game. Like I said, just kind of in summary, the things that hurt it are the bugs, the loading times, the mediocre story, and, you know, just a few small quality of life things, you know, kind of some balanced difficulty things towards the end of it, you know. Sometimes, you know, I guess that's more on the bugs thing, but like mantling over things doesn't quite work. Sometimes, you know, sometimes doing things isn't like the clearest, like how you're supposed to go about doing things isn't clear. And the gun variety, now I guess that one's kind of like it's a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, all the guns are basically the same. They do just about the same damage. They can kill things just about as easily as every other gun. So on the one hand, you know, if you're looking for optimization, it's not super there. I mean, you can kind of, but it's not really like a big part of the game. But on the other hand, you know, if you like I personally like using a gun because it looks cool, not because it's the best gun. It's like I like the Colt because I like the Colt. I like how it looks. It's not really the best gun in the game in terms of pistols, but I like it, and it's just about as good in this game, so I just use it because. So I like that. So depending on where you lie on that issue, that may be a plus or minus. But on the positive side, the gameplay is really fun. There's a lot to do. There's a ton of side missions. There's a ton of exploring to do. There's collectibles. The gunplay is fantastic. Feels really weighty, really real. The gun sounds, the sound effects of like explosions, people talking. Very, very good. Like I said, good enough to justify giving it a shot if you're interested in this type of game. If you're reluctant and are not really sure this is going to be your thing, or if you're looking for like a heavy story-driven thing, probably wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, I'll leave the rest up to you to decide. I hope this was insightful for you guys, just to see a little bit of the game, and maybe if you're on the fence of deciding whether or not you want to try it out, maybe this has helped, you know, sway you one way or the other. Like I said, I personally enjoyed it, and I hope you guys take a little bit of a more in-depth look at it and, you know, decide for yourself whether or not you want to give it a shot yourselves. So with that, I think I'm going to end the episode here, and we'll see you guys next time.